Hey, Lorraine, how are you doing this afternoon?
Wonderful. Thanks for asking. Doing great.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you so much for joining us today. And for you guys who will be watching this on social media, this is our interview with the expert series. And some of you guys that are my client, or maybe you followed us on social media, you know that a few times a year we bring in an expert on a topic that we think is important, mainly to seniors. That being said, Lorraine and what she's going to have to say today can apply to all of us, and you're going to see how. But this is, we gear things more towards seniors, which is our typical clientele, empty nester seniors. And so Lorraine is the owner of Get Organized. And so we're going to be talking to her about her company today and about what her company can offer you potentially as her customer. So Lorraine, give us kind of your the broad view of Get Organized and what you guys do for your customers.
Sure. We've been in business for 15 years, and what started out as just basic residential organization has blossomed into an array of services. Specifically to the senior industry, we are certified senior move managers. So that really means that when we go in, work with seniors, and we work with everybody, but seniors specifically, we are working to declutter years of clutter they have built up or items. We go in and pack, unpack, completely set up the home. We can stage it. We can get it ready for sale. We can unpack them wherever they're going, if they're going in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And work with even senior communities, decluttering and getting their home and their new place ready for them to move in.
And that's maybe my opinion is a little skewed because I work in the senior industry more or less, but I mean there's a lot of that going on. There's a lot of seniors today downsizing here in DFW and either moving into a senior living community, moving into assisted living, or maybe just moving into a smaller house. Is that correct?
That is correct. We have a large population. You have the baby boomers that have been for a while beginning to go into retirement and to that downsizing process. And so this is for the largest population that's going to span for quite a few more years that we're seeing that downsizing trend. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can tell you, we have seniors moving in right and left also, particularly what I see in my office, especially my South Lake office, a lot of Californians and a lot of seniors from the upper Midwest are moving in. So I don't think the pipeline's not going to stop anytime soon. So this will continue to be important, but give us an idea. So I know it can be very overwhelming, this process. My mom actually went through this a few years back. My dad had passed away very unexpectedly. A few years later, she sold the marital home, downsized pretty dramatically. And it was hard for her to decide what am I going to keep? Am I going to put a bunch of stuff in storage because it has some sort of emotional meaning, but I'm never going to actually see it or use it? She tried to give me and my sister a lot of things, some things we didn't really want, right? Because we don't have room in our house. So this can be very emotional, especially for the senior it's almost like you're giving away, you're downsizing memories, right? You're kind of downsizing a phase of life almost. You're kind of going through this past phase of life. Tell us how do you help seniors start in this process when it's an emotionally difficult thing for them? Or maybe it's mentally overwhelming. What's the process you guys walk through?
Well, the first thing that we do is we start off with a consultation, and that consultation sort of establishes that relationship. Often the biggest thing that we hear from senior communities as when the senior is inquiring about downsizing and where they may live is they don't know where to start. And there's so many aspects of this that our services allows them to put a lot of that burden on us to sort of coordinate what the next step is and go through that process. To seniors, downsizing is often all about loss. They're in their mind, they're losing their home, they're having to lose some of their valuables. And you want someone that can work with you that sympathizes, but also pushes you to make those decisions that are going to be hard. And often family has conflict, or I'm assuming based on you saying you didn't want some of the things your parents wanted you or your mom didn't want you or wanted you to have, I'm assuming that probably stung a little bit with her.
Yeah, I
Like
think
maybe
it
not
did.
so much with you, but for her, she's like, really?
Yeah, and they were mainly things from my childhood or my teenage years
Mhm.
that had a big meaning to her, and to me, I just didn't care. Like, well,
I
I'm
know.
47 now. I have my own kids. I'm sorry, I don't care about that baseball glove from 8th grade. But to her, it was a big deal. So yes, that's absolutely correct.
Yeah, it is, and it's difficult for them to go past that. So we work with them in working with the family dynamic, which can be really big.
Yeah,
It takes off, for example, you have a full-time job and plus, and you often don't have the time to sit with them and make all these decisions, but you want to be
right.
part of the process, but not the entire thing. So, we provide resources for them to give their items to places that are most needed. We work with them on deciding what's worth taking with them, what will fit, and really give them a vision of this new exciting phase that they're going to often be in, that
Right.
they really are not thinking about that right up front. So we not only provide that emotional support for them, but the physical work we take upon ourselves and handle a lot of the aspects for the family.
And then whenever you're helping a senior go through the process of determining what they're going to get rid of in some way, shape, or form, and what they're going to keep. And they know they have to get rid of some things because they're going from, maybe 3,700 square feet to 1,500 square feet, or whatever the case may be, maybe even less, right? Um, how do you, what's the process that you walk, and they're having a hard time with this? What's the process that you walk them through? What's the thought process of what should stay and what should go? How do you approach
Sure.
that with them?
And depending on where they're at in the process, so if they know where they're going to be moving, we can go to that location, or at least somehow, depending if it's further away, get the actual measurements. Now, not just the square footage, but actually where are the wall outlets, where are the electrical plugs,
Right.
and then space planning what they can take that will actually fit
Okay.
into their own place. Now, if they don't know where they're moving to, then we're going to start with the more of the finite stuff, like the things in the closet, the things in the pantry, the dishes, all those things, and really walk through, do you need that 20-piece place setting anymore? Do you need
Right.
that fine china anymore? And
Right.
start getting rid of the things in the home, which really is the emotional side of it.
Yeah.
But as far as when you're going into a place, if you know where you're going, then or downsizing to a smaller home, then we start looking at what will fit. And then
Yeah.
obviously those things like dishes, plates, towels, really how much do you need for yourself or you and your spouse?
Okay. Yeah. Great points. And then let me ask you this. So, my wife and I actually went through this recently, or a little over a year ago, because we moved from one house to another. And we weren't downsizing. It was a relative equal move with square footage, but the furniture from one house was pretty much, in terms of style, was completely incompatible with the new house, because we moved
Mm,
from a house that was built literally in the 1920s to a house that was built in the late 90s and had just been renovated, right?
right.
So we had a lot of furniture that was nice, and at the time that we purchased it, it was not cheap to us, anyways. And so then the question comes up: well, where do we go to try and sell this? Because this isn't something that we're just going to take to the Goodwill. I mean,
Right.
this is some nice furniture. What are your recommendations when people have nice furniture that should have some sort of a decent resale value, but they cannot fit it into their new location where they're moving?
Sure. Well, nice is also a perspective, because you can be nice in price or it can be nice in looks, right?
Right.
And for a senior, sometimes that furniture has been purchased 20, 30 years ago.
It's out
And
of
what
style.
that's right. It's not, it's not a current style.
Right.
It's real wood. It's really high quality and they paid a good price. But unfortunately, it is not the style now. And not that this is the case with every type of furniture, but there's a little saying called brown is down. meaning the brown furniture, the wood look, even though some people have it, a lot of people have gone over to more of solid, white or a
Yeah.
solid blacks or like a wood gray color. And so it is harder to get rid of. What I would suggest is if you have something you think is of good value, there's consignment companies out there, but they will not take it unless you photograph it first and email them in pictures to see if they want it. Now, once they accept it, the little caveat here is you've got to get those larger pieces of furniture to them. Some will offer free to pick it up, others will not. So it's a lot of coordination. So I would say lastly is look at the effort given versus the price gained.
Yes, right. So exactly, and that was a huge analysis my wife and I had to use was, is this really worth the effort, And in some cases it was, and in some cases we decided that it was not. So that's a good call. And then let's just kind of pause here for a second. Let everybody watching know, how can they get a hold of you? Give us maybe your website, your phone number. How can the viewers here get a hold of you?
Yeah, our website is getorganized.ws, and that WS stands for website. So it's not .com, it's getorganized.ws. Okay. And you can also go to Facebook. If you're on there, I think it's get.organized.services. Okay. And we're very big on social media if they happen to be following us on Facebook. Okay. And then our number is 972-841-0738. Okay,
so everybody, if you're on social media right now, please find Lorraine at Get Organized on Facebook, I would assume, and start following them. Also, let me ask you, with Get Organized, is this a concept that you came up with, or is this maybe more of a national company and you're a franchise? Can you explain that to us?
Good question. No, we're not a franchise. I am an individual that grew up in the Garland, Fort Dallas area, and I started it about 15 years ago with just myself and I, and we've grown to a company now, I think a little bit over 25 and still hiring. We service all the Dallas, Fort Worth, and a lot of the surrounding areas around Dallas, Fort Worth. And no, it was just a concept. I was really good at organizing anything, whether it's a schedule or a move. And that just turned into a 15-year career as of now. So
but that's cool. Hey, you found your niche, right?
Yeah, so exactly.
Awesome. And 25 employees. So what that tells me, guys, is that they're doing a good job. They're busy, they have a good reputation, and they're doing a good job if they have that many employees. And okay, so let's kind of shift gears here. You just mentioned you're good at organizing just about everything. Let's talk about that. So you also, at Get Organized, you'll help people organize their calendar. Is that correct?
That is correct. We work with people on getting up their phone set up, their calendar sync with their computer, work with the difference between planning versus scheduling. Sometimes seniors, it's not necessarily sit back in your rocking chair and do nothing, right? A lot of times they are more busy than they have ever been because they have this free time.
Right.
And they're filling it up with things. And so we work with them with getting, more organized with their schedules and learning ways they can be more remote if they're going to be traveling a lot. So we also have an IT side of it that we help organize photos and videos and just basically clean up their digital world and get that organized too.
That's so cool. That's great. And then let's talk about somebody being too busy. How do you reset? How do you advise that people reset from being too busy? And how do you know when you're looking at everything that you have to do, or everything that you have been doing, and you've determined that I'm too busy, that life isn't fun right now? How do you go through the process of recommending what somebody should keep doing and maybe some things they should give up?
Sure. Well, first thing I was like is what do you really love, and write those things down. Let's keep it like 3 things. What do you really love? And maybe it's spending time with your grandchildren. Maybe it's traveling, or maybe it is more local things. But write down those things and let's see if your calendar reflects that.
Maybe it's drinking wine.
Exactly. I'm like, if you say yes to something, and this applies to any age group, if you say yes to something, you automatically say no to something else. So even in my life, I'm having to rethink some of the things in my life and say, I'm an entrepreneur spirit. I love to open and create, but at some point when I'm saying yes to all of that, even volunteer things and serving, I'm saying no to maybe spending time with my grandkids or maybe taking that trip because my business is tying me down. So
Right.
you have to look at what your 3 top priorities are, and let's tweak your schedule. Sometimes you have to say no to good things and you really want to do it, but you can't do anything like really well. And there's a cost in saying yes to everything. And, that's cost of marriage relationships, grandchildren relationships, dreams. And you really want to look at that and say, what am I saying yes to and what am I saying no to? And does my schedule reflect my ultimate goal?
Okay. Yeah. So that's, it's sort of a cost benefit analysis of, okay, I know I'm too busy or I wouldn't even be thinking about this in the first place. And then number 2, what are the things that give me the least satisfaction, right?
Yeah.
Something
And
like
and
that.
we're all guilty of this. And sometimes
Yeah.
you just have to reassess to make the end result what you want it to be and not just keeping your head above water all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. So hopefully one day I can achieve that, but I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
So maybe when I retire and I call
Retirement,
you
right?
and help me get
Retirement.
organized. Okay, let's talk about a brain dump. You've mentioned that to me before. What is a brain dump?
So a brain dump on a very low level, most people would think of it as a to-do list, but it's a really more than that. So think of a brain dump as the areas that get cluttered. Everyone that's listening right now, if you'll think about the biggest area of your life that's cluttered, most of the time they think of a physical space like a desk or a kitchen or a bedroom or something. But this really gets so cluttered with
Yeah.
all the things that come in our mind every day, from the simplest things of picking up something at the store to calling someone to picking up a greeting card. Simple things. So what we teach our clients is to do a brain dump and not a to-do list. A to-do list is short-term in nature, like what am my errands today? Or what am I doing for this birthday party this weekend? Think of a brain dump is now, weeks, months, and maybe even a year or 2 in the future. And I know that sounds like crazy to be planning, but you basically take everything in here and you dump it somewhere. And I would suggest doing something like on a spiral bound notebook or something, something that is not going to be loose sticky notes. And I want you to dump your brain of everything you can think of that you want to do, that you need to do, and that you have to do. Now, one of the things on my list for 2020, it's going to sound really simple, but I wanted to research all those meal planning sites that actually deliver the meals to your home and all the ingredients are in packages.
Yeah.
And I wanted a certain type of meal and I wanted a certain type of cost and I wanted to see their ratings. And so I had to do my research and then I acted on it. And
Okay.
so that was not just a one-day thing. I had to spend multiple times. So a brain dump is really getting everything out of here and you have to do it daily. Think about going to bed at nighttime and your mind is just turning. Once you get that off your mind and onto something, the next step is to put it on your calendar. Like don't work off of your brain dump on here. Actually work off of your calendar. So you're going to start putting things on your calendar when you can do them. And ultimately your calendar becomes your working scheduled to-do list that you've put your brain dump on.
And what do you think about the idea of maybe even just, at least for a period of time, maybe 1 week, having a piece of paper and a pen on you at all times? Because I'm going to tell you, so I have 2 offices and I have, depending on traffic, about a 35 to 40-minute drive between the offices. And sometimes on the way there, I think of like 3 things I need to do, right? Just pops in my head. And it could be some personal things, some business things. Then somebody calls me, and I'm on a call. Then by the time I get to my next office, I only remember 1 of the 4 things. And I'm like, what were those other 3 things? They were super important, but I can't remember them now. So you think it's a good idea to maybe even just kind of keep something on you or around you where you can jot things down when they pop in your mind?
Yeah, absolutely. I do the same thing. You can have something that's stuck to your dashboard and when you're at a red light, you can actually write. The other thing is use audio file recordings.
Yeah.
Just push on your, there's tons of apps out there. Just push it and talk to yourself, almost like those, is it dictaphones or whatever people used to do that? They would record themselves and someone would transcribe it into something. And then you just play it back.
Right.
You need to do
and then
something.
add that to the list.
That's right. Because what happens is you're in a car. It's sometimes hard for people to write, especially an older population, to switch gears that fast at a red light. So just to hold down your app, and I talk to myself when I'm driving all the time, and send that file straight to my email so I can play it when I get back and I know I don't miss anything.
Okay. Awesome.
It's real good. It catches a lot of things that would go in and out that normally would just go away.
Yes, and that happens a lot until you realize, oh gosh, I was supposed to have done that yesterday, right?
Exactly.
in a bit of panic. So, all right, tell us one more time, Lorraine, tell everybody how they can reach you, how they can get in contact with you.
Sure. On Facebook, we are get.organized.services. And you can probably just search Get Organized, but it's actually get.organized.services. And our website is getorganized.ws, not .com, .ws, and that stands for website. And so, yeah, reach out to us. You can message us through Facebook. You can go to our website and contact us there. And we have an office that's on staff 10 hours a day, Monday through Friday, to answer any emails.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us and for that great information. And I want to encourage all of you guys watching to reach out to Lorraine. We've known her for a few years now, and they've got a great reputation. She has 25 employees. They obviously are doing a good job for people and have a lot of business. So I want to encourage you guys to reach out to her. Okay. And thank you so much, Lorraine, and have a great rest of your week.
All right. Bye, guys.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.